have a while loop, and it's going to have a certain number of sticks in the pile, and it's going to alternate going back and forth. Okay, so let's make a, let's see, how should we look? Let's make a Boolean called plain. Let's have it equal to true. Let's make a variable, an integer called num_of_sticks. Let's start it at 21 right now, and then later we'll add that the user can type in how many they want to have in the pile. Okay, then let's make a while, and let's loop as long as plain equals true. There are two things that when we read that requirements document I noticed. One is that we need a scanner, and the other is that we need a random number generator, right, in order to randomly pick 1, 2, or 3. So let's import java.util.scanner, and let's import java.util.random. Cool. Up here, let's make our scanner. So scanner scan equals new scanner. System.in, we're scanning from the terminal. And then let's make our random number generator, random rand equals new random. Okay, notice that this is not making a number. This is making a random number generator that we will then use to create random numbers or to pick random numbers. Okay? Let's also make an integer called turn, and let's set it equal to 1. And I'm just going to, on the side, I'm going to say 1 means it's the player's turn. 2 means it's the computer's turn. Okay, so just doing a little bit of pre-work. I'm just initializing some variables that I'm going to need later. So now when we come in, there's two situations when you come into the while loop. It's either the player's turn or it's the computer's turn, right? So let's say if turn equals 1, not 10, 1, this means what? What did we say it means when turn is 1? It's the player's turn, right? Okay, I commented it just so that we remember that, okay? There's going to be another situation where it's the computer's turn, right? What is the, what's going to happen when it's the computer's turn? What's the process? Or sorry, when it's the player's turn, let's do that first. Okay, but before the player picks a number of sticks, what do we need to do?
Oh, we choose a number.
So we already set it to 21. We initialized it to 21 to start. We'll make it so that they can pick later.
Well, you get the options.
What?
You get the options.
So we tell them to pick something, right? So we say, pick some number of sticks in the pile, or sticks in the pile. There are so many sticks, right? So let's do a print line, and let's say there are okay, so I'm actually printing out the number of sticks when I tell the user to pick, so they know how many there are. after we ask a question, what do? We ask the question, we want them to pick a number of sticks. What happens next? We have to scan. We have to get their response, right? So let's make an integer. Let's call it stick pick. I don't know. And let's scan. So scan dot, what kind of variable are we scanning? An integer, right? We want them to type 1, 2, or 3. So let's scan it as an int. So next int, open close parentheses. Once they pick a number, what do? We do what? Subtract that number from the pile. So we picked it up. So now let's do num of sticks equals num of sticks minus stick pick. Okay, one thing I want you to see. So keep typing, but kind of listen, please. This variable, stick pick, I declared this one, I created it, I declared it right here inside of this if statement, okay? That means it only exists between these curly brackets. So if I tried to use stick pick down here, or out here, it wouldn't exist. It only exists between the curly brackets that you created it in. Does that make sense? So I can't reference the user stick pick anywhere else. That makes sense? Okay. Unless I added it up here, like if I said up here in stick pick. Don't do this. If I did it here, then yes, I could access it anywhere in the main method. Okay? So variables only exist within the curly brackets that they're created in. Cool? Makes sense? Okay. So the only other thing that I need to do is, so I picked up a number of sticks, I subtracted them from the pile. What happens after it's my turn? What? It becomes the computer's turn. So now let's change the variable turn and set it equal to 2. So now it's the computer's turn. 1 was player's turn, 2 is computer's turn. Okay. In the else statement, that means it's the computer's turn. What do we need to do? What? Pick a number 1 through 3 with the computer to randomly pick something, right? So let's create a random number. So let's make it an integer. And let's call it rand pick, like random stick pick equals. When we use that number, random number generator, how do we do it? Remember? Do you remember? What? I did not hear. Is that Kalani speaking? Oh, sorry. What do we do? I can't see your mouths. Like you're. We did. I did import it. I don't know if you did, but I did. Because I said when we read the requirements document, I realized that I need a scanner and I need a random number generator, so I imported both. So, and then I also created a random number generator. I haven't created a random number, but I created the generator of random numbers and I called it rand. Okay. So down here, when I want to pick a random number, how do I do it? How do I make it pick a random number? Rand dot. Nope. The random we only used when we created the random number generator. Now we're only going to refer to it as rand because that's what we named it. It's like saying that I have a dog named Zydeco, which I do. And like you don't call it dog after you've named it, right? You call it by its name, right? So like I call it Zyde. Cool. Does that make sense? So I named my random number generator, so I don't have to call it random anymore. I just call it rand. That's what I named it. Okay. And then we do next int. That's saying pick a random number that's going to be an integer. And we have to put something inside the parentheses. Who remembers what? It's going to be a number, right? Right. So in this case, I wanted to pick from 3 numbers. I wanted to pick from 0, 1, and 2, right? Those are, like, I wanted to pick 3. It always starts at 0, but I want it to go up by 1, right? Because I want it to really be 1, 2, or 3. Does that make sense? Okay, so I'm going to put a 3 inside the parentheses because I wanted to pick between, like, 3 numbers, 1, 2, 0, 1, or 2, right? And now I want to add 1 to each of those. So after the parentheses, then I do a +1. Sorry, +1. Okay, make sure that this +1 is not inside the parentheses. Because if it's inside the parentheses, it's going to add it, and then it's going to run the method, which means how many is it going to pick? It's going to pick from, what's 3 plus 1? 4. It's going to pick from 4 numbers, and I don't want it to be 4 numbers. I just want it to be 3 numbers, right? So the 1 has to be at the end, after the parentheses. Good? Okay. So the computer picks something. Now I want to subtract it from the pile, right? Num of sticks equals num of sticks minus rand pick. And now let's print this out to tell the user what happened, right? So let's say system.out.println. The computer picked rand pick sticks. And you could say how many sticks are in the pile now, but we did this here, so once it's the user's turn, it'll print out how many sticks are left in the pile. But this is going to pick out how many the computer picked. After the computer's turn, what do I need to do? What happens after the computer goes? The player goes, which means I need to change my variable turn back to 1. That make sense? Last thing, well, not quite the last thing, but one of the last things is we need to tell it when to quit, right? Okay. So let's say if num of sticks, we could do this differently. We could do this without a Boolean, but we'll leave it this way for now. If num of sticks is less than or equal to 0, then let's make plain false. And then it should quit. Okay, down here I want you to determine who wins. This is for you. Okay, so looking at the requirements document for regular, okay, you still, like, you're going to need to change that number of sticks to be something that the user types in. I believe in you. You can do this. Okay, so instead of initializing it to 21, you're going to have to scan something from the terminal that the user types, prompt them, then scan, right? And then make that equal to number of sticks. Okay, we already made a loop. It's going to loop until we run out of sticks. So you got 25 points already. Okay, during the player's turn, you're going to use the scanner to figure out if they want to take 1, 2, or 3 sticks from the pile. And then we'll do this. Check the pile. Check if the pile is empty. We did that right here. So you've got another 20 points, or no, 20 points right here. The computer's turn, we had them use a random number generator to take 1, 2, or 3 sticks. After their turn, we checked if the pile is empty. Okay, and then 10 more points that you need to earn on your own is making the computer play the optimal strategy. Okay, so you've got to figure out how to, 1, output who won. Okay, who's the winner. That's what you'll do that at the end after the while loop runs. Okay, then you have to figure out how to make the user be able to pick the number of sticks in the pile. And then you need to have the computer play optimally. So you have 3 things that you need to do. Okay, so first, well, in any order that you want, 3 things you have to do. Okay, print out who wins, take in a number of a number of sticks. Okay, to initialize it to the number of pile, like the pile to that number, and then make the computer play optimally. So 3 things. All right, go for it. You have the rest of class today and then tomorrow.